Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really special. We're going to deconstruct a beautifully crafted short film to reveal how empathy, something we usually just think of as a nice personal trait, actually acts as a massive catalyst for professional success. We always hear about networking, right? Upskilling, grinding our way to the top. But today, we're going to look at the true ROI of compassion, specifically why kindness improves career growth.
To kick things off, consider this number, 10 rupees. Now, in the grand scheme of the global economy, that might not seem like much at all. But I want you to imagine the immense emotional and practical weight of this single, worn-out 10-rupee note to a young delivery boy. Picture him. He's wearing a faded uniform, lugging around a heavy delivery bag, and he is just exhausted. His stomach is literally growling. He's standing there, staring longingly at a nearby food stall, and this single note, it's the only thing in his wallet. It's his entire net worth for the afternoon, the only barrier between him and his intense hunger.
But right before he can make his way over to that stall to finally buy something to eat, his attention is pulled away. He spots an exhausted elderly woman sitting on a nearby roadside bench, and she is completely exposed to the brutal, hot afternoon sun, sweating heavily, visibly struggling just to catch her breath. This sets up this intense, immediate physical and emotional conflict. On one side of the street, you've got the boy's own desperate, gnawing hunger. And on the other, this stranger's acute health crisis.
Section 1. An unhesitating act.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are looking at a serious clash of short-term physical needs here. On one hand, you have the boy's intense hunger and his singular 10-rupee note, pitted directly against the elderly woman's sheer exhaustion and physical struggle. Honestly, he could so easily justify turning away, walking right over to that stall and buying his food. He earned that money, right? He needs it to keep working. Absolutely no one would blame him for prioritizing his own basic needs in that moment. But he doesn't. Without a single moment of hesitation, he makes a choice that literally changes everything. First, he walks away from the food stall, heads over to a small shop, and spends his absolute last 10 rupees on a cold bottle of water. Then he approaches the elderly woman and gently hands the water to her with a warm, comforting smile. The result is immediate. She drinks it slowly, her eyes just welling up and filling with tears of profound gratitude. He sacrificed the only comfort he could afford to ease a complete stranger's suffering. And the raw reality of his day continues right after that decision. We start in the afternoon with that oppressive hot sun and his deep hunger. Moments later, the transaction happens. He buys the water, gives it away, and boom. His wallet is now entirely empty. But look at the rest of the day. He quietly walks away to continue his deliveries with total determination. He is still hungry. There's no immediate reward, no one clapping for him in the street. Just a soft, emotional weight as he goes right back to the daily grind. Section 2. The unexpected career catalyst. Just imagine this scenario for a second. You're a young delivery worker. You clock in for another grueling shift, and suddenly, you're pulled off your regular route. You are unexpectedly summoned directly into the main company office. I mean, your mind would race, wouldn't it? Why? What could he possibly have done wrong? Did he miss a delivery? Or, more importantly, what could he have done right without even knowing it? Well, here is the massive narrative twist that changes his life. He walks nervously into the office, and sitting right there in the room is the exact same elderly woman from the bench yesterday. And sitting next to her, her son, who just so happens to be the owner of the successful logistics company the boy works for. No way, right? She is sitting there telling the owner and everyone else in the room how this specific boy stopped to help her in her moment of desperate need when absolutely no one else would even look her way. The contrast between his yesterday and his today is absolutely staggering. Think about it. Yesterday, a hungry kid in a faded uniform with an empty wallet, experiencing a very real, very painful short-term physical loss. Today, he is a highly recognized individual of outstanding character, receiving a massive long-term professional gain. He went from being an invisible gig worker to being completely indispensable overnight. Section 3. Deconstructing the growth. So, how do we actually apply this? We've seen the raw, beautiful, emotional story, but now let's pivot to a strategic analysis of our core focus. It all comes down to one concept: professional empathy. This means acting on the observation of another person's immediate needs, utilizing proactive problem solving, sometimes even at a personal cost. I want you to think of that cold water bottle and that 10 rupee note as micro metaphors. They perfectly represent the macro career skills that every single CEO and manager is desperately looking for: keen observation, genuine empathy, and the bold willingness to step up and solve a problem without having to be asked or micromanaged. Now, what's really interesting about this is how systematically it maps out a chain reaction of success born from soft skills. First up is observation. He actually noticed the woman in a fast-paced world where everyone else was just too busy to look. Next is the sacrifice, spending his only 10 rupees, committing to taking action. And finally, reputation. By doing the right thing when he thought absolutely no one of influence was watching, he built a reputation so exceptionally strong that the woman actively advocated for him directly to the CEO. His soft skills quite literally engineered a massive career advancement. And those soft skills resulted in very hard, highly quantifiable rewards. The logistics company owner didn't just give him a quick pat on the back and send him back out to the hot streets. No, he gave him a full-time job offer, instantly and vastly improving his immediate financial stability. He also gave him an educational scholarship, securing his long-term future and earning potential. And above all, he gave him profound public gratitude for proving that character and kindness actually matter in the real corporate world. Section 4. The true ROI of compassion, which leads us perfectly into our final takeaways. These events unequivocally prove that empathy isn't a weakness or some distraction in the professional world. It is a remarkably powerful, highly lucrative professional asset, if you know how to cultivate it. So I want to turn this analysis directly over to you. What are your 10 rupee moments in your professional life? Take a second to really evaluate that. What are those seemingly small, everyday opportunities where you can make a brief sacrifice? Maybe it's giving up 10 minutes of your time, sharing a piece of your specialized expertise, or just showing a moment of patience to help a colleague or a client who is actively struggling. Those small investments of empathy, they compound massively over the course of a career. So the crucial point is this: character and kindness matter far more than money in the long run. The logistics company owner realized something profound that morning. You can train almost any person to do a logistical job, but you cannot train character. Hiring, retaining, and promoting for character, for that intrinsic, unprompted willingness to help others, yields the absolute highest returns for any organization. And this brilliantly illustrates the final closing message of the film. Kindness is never a loss. What you give from your heart always finds its way back. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. What if we all stopped viewing kindness as a nice-to-have, soft trait, and started seeing it as the absolute rock-solid foundation of a sustainable, highly successful career? The next time you see someone struggling in your workplace, remember that faded 10 rupee note. Acting on it might just be the best professional investment you ever make. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.